The Denver Nuggets, they get a win in Brooklyn. And y'all, this was a spectacular second half performance for the team. But Nikola Jokic, the way he is starting this season off, he is going to be forcing some very interesting conversations. Should he be able to sustain this? But we're going to talk about, is this level of play sustainable? Is this going to be beneficial for the team? How can they pick up the pieces around him so he can withdraw some of this playoff level dominance and Russell Westbrook makes his mark? Y'all, we got a lot to talk about today here on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. This is your team every day. Shout out to y'all. Hope you're having a spectacular day. I hope things are going well for you across the world. Yo, the Denver Nuggets, they play in Brooklyn last night, and it was honestly one of the most interesting games I've seen in quite some time. And why is that? The Denver Nuggets get down 17 in the first half. They get down 17 in the first half, and it looks like this is going to be yet another disappointing loss for this Denver Nuggets team that's trying to contend for a second title in the last 3 seasons. But fortunately, Nikola Jokic, he's the best player in the world. He continues to show that he alone, maybe with Wilt, is able to carry the torch as maybe being the best scorer, playmaker, and passer and rebounder in the league all at the same time. What we're seeing from Joker is literally unprecedented. Watching a center year in and year out be able to put up performances where you're looking at the box score and it's 29 points, 18 rebounds, and 16 assists. The only other player ever to put up these kind of numbers is Oscar Robertson in an NBA game. Jokic now has 7, 25, 15, and 15 games in his career. What is fascinating about this is that Joker is just able to do things at the center position we have just never witnessed. We've never seen a player be able to command this kind of performance on a nightly basis. And what I love about it is Joker has over the years developed his game to be able to say, okay, I need to become a dominant primary scorer today, or on the other end, I need to become a heavy passer, and I need to get everybody else involved. But on the other end of this, the rebounding and all that, it is really special. And I love that he did it versus the Brooklyn Nets. You know, the Brooklyn Nets, they present a very interesting challenge for Denver. First off, Jordi Fernandez is there. If you remember who he is, he used to be the assistant coach here in Denver. But Jordi Fernandez is an excellent basketball mind, and he knows how to deploy that unit. And what I love about it is that Dorian Finney-Smith and that squad, I don't know if you all remember this, but in 2023, when the Nuggets won the title, remember the Nets came to Denver, and they gave them problems. You know, Mikal Bridges, Cam Thomas, Cameron Johnson. They just had so many guys, Dorian Finney-Smith, where they spread the Denver Nuggets out, and they made them play like this 5-out offense. And the Nuggets, man, struggled so much offensively, and it really affected the way people were looking at the Nuggets as a whole. Say, well, you get in a playoff setting, you spread them out. You take advantage of the fact that Joker can't move in space and all this. And so what it did, it presented them with a unique challenge. And, you know, the Nets are like, they're still going to be a bottom feeder team in the Eastern Conference, but they have enough talent to push you. They have enough talent to press you. They have enough talent to continue to make you try to make the best decision possible. And by the way, please let me know if the audio works. I hope the audio is working today. What I love about what I'm seeing from Joker is he is just saying that no matter the moment and no matter what's expected, this is what I'm going to do. Y'all, Jokic on the season now, 31.5 points per game. Thank you, Big Honey. 31.5 points per game. 12.3 rebounds per game. 9.3 assists per game. 1.3 steals per game, 1.3 blocks per game, 39 minutes a game, 57.3% from the field, and 55% from three. Didn't take a three last night versus the Nets. 77.8% from the free throw line after going 11 of 13 yesterday versus the Nets on a 67.1 true shooting. Like, come on, y'all. Like, Joker is literally doing unprecedented things for a big. And in the modern era, you know, we had Russell Westbrook with having 4 out of 5 years where he averaged a triple-double in the MVP season in 16-17. But I think one of the things is that Jokic is just able to maintain like a level of efficiency and dominance on the interior that really breaks how teams are structured. And what's happening is, you know, over the course of this game, Jokic in the fourth quarter, the Nuggets, they just needed like buckets. They needed someone to be able to score at will. And for the most part, they literally were post Jokic kind of right where he likes to be, on that right block or near the right block. They would run a two-man game action with either Porter or Murray. They would have him get on the right block, and then he would go to work. And because of the way that the team is structured, they just didn't want to double right away on Joker and said, look, we're just going to let him score. You know, even though it's Nick Claxton, who's a very good interior defender, but he's just obviously very small compared to Jokic, or we're going to go Dorian Finney-Smith, and they gave their best effort, but it was just bucket after bucket after bucket after bucket. And then they get into overtime, and Joker decides to go high gear, puts him back in the post, but at this point, the Nets are like, we can't just keep letting him score. So then Joker starts passing to Aaron Gordon, passing to Christian Brown, and then he started getting a little DHO options with Jamal Murray, who made a really nice, clean, mid-range off-the-glass shot. I mean, really, man, the mechanisms of the Denver offense around Joker are truly magnificent. Now, what I do like that the offense had to figure out some more identity yesterday because the Nets took 52 threes yesterday in the game, and they took 24 in the first half, and they were 12 of 24. And then the Nuggets, you know, they shot 41% from three, but overall, they didn't take that many threes over the course of the game. They only took 27, which is, I would say, about 11 or 12 below where they kind of want to be for this year. And because of that, they just had to really find a way to generate really good looks and really good offense to contest the fact that the Nets were getting these threes. And, I mean, they were wide open threes. They were contested threes. They were just running a really good action continuously. Zion Williams was really good yesterday. Cameron Johnson was very good, hit a bunch of threes. I mean, Cam Thomas ended the game in the fourth quarter. Man, he had a stretch where he was just hitting buckets, and he was only 8 of 22 from the field yesterday, so it wasn't even like he was shooting super efficient. But he was just getting to the basket. And but the way that they slowed the game down, the Nuggets, is that when they finally were able to get stopped, they just said, okay, we're going to just take a breath, give Joker the ball, and we're going to let him get active in the post. The only possession that I did not love down the stretch of the fourth quarter, it was a Jamal Murray isolation where he basically turned down the two-man game, and Joker had a mismatch at the nail, and Jamal got the ball and dribble. Now, Jamal has, like, in his history, been very good in those spots, obviously, as everybody's watching the regular season and in the playoffs. But this is probably the third play that stands out a lot about Jamal this year, where he's trying to find his rhythm. I don't really blame him overall. I just think he's just trying to figure out like how to get his groove back a little bit. And Jamal had versus the Clippers, he had that 4-on-5 pass where he easily could have got the ball into somebody, but then threw it in a contested paint, turnover score. That was Derrick Jones Jr. finished that play on the other end and cherry picking on the dunk. You know, you had to play where Jamal tries to take Zubac, and I think it was Derrick Jones to the basket instead of throwing it out to Joker, you know, after they ran pick and roll. But, you know, and then yesterday, you know, Jamal turns down the option to give it to Joker, and I think some of this because of the way the court was laid out. The two-man game kind of happened in a high and tight area, and so he didn't feel like he had a great passing lane. But Jamal just didn't have the burst to be able to, like, get by his defender at will, faded into a mid-range, and barely touched the rim. So it's really special watching Joker do what he's doing Just because it's like literally like, what are you going to do about it? And yesterday having 29, 18, and 16 in this game, being a +8 and doing it as efficiently as he did, it's just really, really, really special stuff from Jokic. Y'all, on the other side, we're going to talk about how sustainable is this? Is Joker going to be able to keep this up? And I actually have a very interesting perspective on whether or not, or he should be able to keep up the level of performance. We'll be right back for more here on Locked On Nuggets. Y'all, if you know me at all, and I've talked to you many, many different times, I love going to concerts. I love going to events. I love going to games. But it's really difficult to find the best prices often, because the thing that Gametime Pick filters does for you, it filters out all the fluff to show you the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Gametime Picks, it allows you to be able to make it easier to save more on sports and comedy and theater and concerts. You get all-in pricing where you can toggle this feature to show you the total up front, which that means no surprise fees at the checkout. You get a panoramic view from your seat on the app before you buy the ticket. That's crazy. You get the lowest price guarantee, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Game time. We'll be right back for more here on Locked On Nuggets. Welcome back here to Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. This is your team every day. Make sure, y'all, if you're listening to this on Apple iTunes, give us a 5-star review. That way you can continue to help us to grow the Locked On Nuggets community on the Apple iTunes side. If you're watching this on YouTube, give us a like, share, and subscribe. I want to see if we can get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of this season, y'all. Let's big up this community. So, y'all, my perspective on whether or not Jokic can sustain this is as simple as this. He needs to sustain it as long as he has to. That's just the call of being an all-time great player. Michael Jordan had to do more than he should have often. LeBron James had to do more than he should have often. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had to do more than he should have often. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Hakeem Olajuwon, they had to do more than they should have often. And Nikola Jokic is no different. When you carry the best player in the world tag on your name, and everybody recognizes you as one of the supreme talents the league has ever seen, you have to do it. There is no if, and, or buts about it. Jamal Murray will pick it up. Michael Porter Jr. will pick it up. They will be better as the course of the season. But what I think is actually happening, the Nuggets with Christian Brown are a new starting five. The Denver Nuggets with Russell Westbrook and Dario Saric and Peyton Watson and Julian Strawther is a new second unit. That's their top 9. But on the other side of this equation, you're developing Peyton. You're still developing Christian. You're developing Julian Strawther. Russ is Russ. He's going to have really great moments and some not so great moments. And then on top of that, Dario Saric has not figured out how to play in Denver yet. Hopefully he does. Zeke Naji's on the roster. He's your 5th highest paid player. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this. And it's unfortunate that this is the situation. You want Joker to have as easy of a job as possible. But this is where the situation is. And so either you do it or your team tanks. Either you do it or the team suffers. That's where it is. And again, I don't ask this of mid-tier players or just all NBA players. I'm not asking Anthony Edwards to do this. Respectfully, I'm not even asking Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to do this. I'm not asking Luka to do this because Luka has his time and it will come. But I'm talking about Nikola Jokic, who is a certified 3-time MVP, who could legitimately win a 4th MVP this year. He has to do it. because you're the best scorer, rebounder, playmaker, passer, and one of the best defenders on the team when you're locked in. That is the call of greatness. You have to be able to rise to the occasion. And I think a lot of where we are currently is just that the team is trying to figure out this identity. But y'all, a triple-double in game 1, loss. A 40-point game in game 2, loss. 40-point game in game 3, win. And then you get a 29, 18, and 16 game in game 4, win. They got Minnesota on Friday. So if the team around you is struggling, what do you got to do? If the team around you can't make a shot, what do you have to do? If the team around you is just having issues figuring out what it's supposed to be doing at times, then that just comes with the territory. And it's not about like trying to put it all on one player. But this is about understanding the culture that exists within the NBA and on the team. I do think Murray will pick it up. He has to. You know, right now he's averaging 18 points a game on shooting less than 40% from the field. You know, that's just not good enough for Jamal. But Jamal knows it's not. But the last couple of games, the efficiency hasn't been there. But, you know, he's been scoring a little bit. He had 24 this last game, 8 of 19, 2 of 7 from 3, 6 of 8 from the free throw line. Again, he was just 8 of 19 from the field. He was 6 of 20 versus the Raptors. You know, that's not great. That's not great at all. I mean, that's 14 of 39. Like, you definitely want to see that better than that from your best player. But I think what I want people to get accustomed to is that because of the situation and trying to develop these young players, because of the situation and trying to make it work with Dario and with Westbrook, the things that just continue to happen is that your best player has to be able to respond and pick it up. Now, is that sustainable going all the way through the season and into the playoffs? No. But I don't expect it to be. But the first 21 games of this year are going to tell us a lot. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be okay. The team is able to find its identity. They're able to pick it up. They're able to do the things that they've been instructed to do. Or on the other end of this, it's going to be, man, they're lost. And Jokic is just not leading the way because he's trying to be too passive with everybody else. And I just think Jokic has to be aggressive. It's not the funnest type of basketball for him because he obviously wants everybody to get involved. Everybody wants to eat like their fair share and all that stuff, but that's just not where everything is kind of residing. And so I think for me, I'm torn on it because you have to do it. But the sustainability is going to come from the unit basically lifting itself up to be able to say that we're not just going to let Joker carry us all the way, but we're actually going to do our jobs on the other end as well. But we'll see. Like, there's a lot of stuff to figure out, man. Like, that Russ and Dario second unit lead has not been good at all. At all. They're going to have to figure out if Russ and Dario can play together. What should Dario be playing? And there's just going to be a lot of stuff that goes into that conversation that I think Joker's going to have to be able to do the work in the meantime. Because right now, I mean, I'm close to saying that Dario shouldn't be in the roster. He shouldn't be in the rotation at the very least. Because he doesn't offer a lot of upside. Like, he's not a switch big. He can't play drop super well. Not play show and recover super well. And then on top of that, like, he's not like a rebounder. Like, so all of this stuff put together, it just kind of feels like that might be where things go. Like, we have to just make adjustments to make sure the lineups are just working and everything kind of has it's running smoothly. You know, yesterday, one of the second units they did with no Russell Westbrook was Russ, Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, Porter, and then Zeke. Again, like, you just have to continue to experiment if you're Michael Malone, and I think he will continue to do that. But what he doesn't want to do is be overreactive and get rid of their brand new signings and Westbrook, but not even really him, but really Dario. Because Dario played 8 minutes, and it was, like, decent. It wasn't, like, completely atrocious like it was the first couple of games. But, y'all, just no no consistency, nothing you can point to specifically, nothing you could say outright, this thing is working. Like, Dario has a lot of stuff to figure out about his game. He has a lot of ways he needs to continue to get better. Like, I'm over here watching Dario, like, hit a jumper, and I'm like, goodness gracious. Let's see if we can build on that confidence. Like, I'm watching Dario play on defense, and I'm like, all right, he's not getting absolutely flaming roasted. Now, again, they're having to overcompensate for him because he's not an athlete. He's not great on ball. He's, like, not making the best decisions at times. Like, he's losing the ball here and there. Like, he doesn't do that stuff really well. But this is going to be a point of tension. It's like, can Malone find out the best way to make this lineup work? No, I'm with you. No, I'm with you. Like, I'm with you. I want Sarge to figure it out because conceptually Sarge actually has a lot of tools that would make this team better. Conceptually. But it's going to be contingent on the passing. It's going to be contingent on the shot making. It's going to be contingent on the post work. It's going to be contingent on the fact that he's going to have to play a very much like Jokic light, like a Jokic light version, where he's distributing and he's making it work with the second unit and Russell Westbrook and Julian Strawther and Peyton Watson. Todd mentions here, Drummond over Sarge, same money, $5 million a year. Well, but everybody got to remember this though. Drummond chose to go to Philly. Like, and when you're in free agency, the part about this that is difficult is players have reasons for why they want to go to certain cities. It's not just about basketball. So Drummond wanted to go back to Philly, but Denver is just a different fit, a different feel, and I don't think he thought he would get the same amount of playing time and all that. Like, there's several layers to why Drummond wouldn't want to sign with Denver, and he instead went to Philly. Bilal, why did we get rid of Justin Holiday? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think some of this is the front office, to be clear, they need to develop that young talent. Like, Malone, you got to play Strawther. Malone, you got to play Justin. Malone, you got to play Peyton Watson. Malone, we need you to play young players because they got to develop. They got to, but the thing is, it's like you even saw in this last game, like Russell Westbrook was out there probably a minute longer than I would have put him in the fourth quarter. Not that he was playing bad, but it just changed up the way the game is working. Like, you just needed Christian Brown more in this off-ball or defensive setting to be able to close out the possession and to close out, like, the game. But that just takes, like, a level of coaching and a level of understanding and all those things. And I think that they're continuing to try to find ways to make it work, but it's definitely going to be a little bit of a struggle. On the other side, Russell Westbrook, y'all, 22 points. Can this be a kind of performance that Russell Westbrook is able to replicate going forward at least every so often for the Denver Nuggets? We'll talk all that and more on the other side here at Locked On Nuggets. Welcome back to Locked On Nuggets. This is your final segment here with your boy Swiper. Hope the audio is working. Hope the video is working. And yes, this is another point. Sorry, it could have been a vet minimum. Again, it doesn't sound like he had the most robust free agency opportunity, but it sounded like there are some people on the inside that might have wanted him here. But either way, basketball-wise, he has to figure that out, and that's bar none. But Russ played his best basketball since he's been in Denver. And Russ getting those 22 points, even though he was only 3 of 10 from two-pointer, Russ being able to find a rhythm in this game and to be able to find a way to contribute in this game, to be able to find a way to continue to find open teammates in Peyton Watson and Julian Strawther and Nikola Jokic. Russ's game with Jokic is real. His two-man chemistry with Jokic is real. And it's like Cam, Swiper, duh. The only person that really didn't work with Jokic, like on their overall plus-minus in the season, is Facu Campazzo. So why would it not work with Russell Westbrook? And I said, that's a good question. But I think some of this is Russ just plays differently than everybody else. So with that, he's going to be a lot more aggressive. He's getting downhill. So you just got to be on the lookout a little bit more than what Christian is. And I think, it's just it takes like when Russ is playing with Jokic as opposed to Christian or Jamal, like that role's been set. But Russ is like, okay, I'm here, brand new opportunity, brand new duo. Like, what do I do? How do I best work with Jokic? Because he's so fast coming around the corner, or so fast in transition that even Jokic has to adjust a little bit to what's happening. But I just think Russ is going to continue to find ways to get better. And he's not going to have great games more often than not. I think he's going to be pretty mid to not great most of the time. But I do think that there are going to be several instances this season where Russ is just able to play. Like, whatever. Say what you want. He's hustling. He's playing defense. He's playmaking. He's creating shots for other people. And he's just like, we see him and we respect it. And I think that's the thing that Russ brings to the roster. It's just this tenacity. Big Honey says that he likes the lineup with Russ, Strother, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, and Yoke. Yeah, there was the bench unit was Russell Westbrook, Julian Strother, Watson, Dario Saric, and Michael Porter Jr. So, conceptually, I get it. But personally, I'd rather have Zeke Naji in that lineup because I think Zeke Naji can maximize Russell Westbrook a little bit more just because he's a rim roller and a popper. And on top of that, defensively, it all just kind of makes a lot of sense. But I think it's just a matter of, like, how do we make sure we're putting spacers around Russ? And how do we make sure we're getting him in the best situation possible? When they're running actions for other players, is Russ doing a good job of getting them involved? Like, again, Julian Strother, Peyton Watson, like, are there ways for me to continue to find lanes for them in half-court offense? Are there ways for me to please continue to try to communicate with them on the defensive end? When they're sweating and trying to figure out, like, at 100 miles an hour, like, where they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to be there. That is where that's where Russ is right now. I think it's a part of game management, but also building up the young players on the roster is so important. It's so important. And I think that's going to be one of the takeaways from the season, especially with somebody like Peyton, who's from Cali. Russ means something to him. And subsequently, I think that this whole thing needs to continue to just grow and develop. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting because they're going to have a lot of decisions to make. I said this before, but if Deron Holmes is healthy, then a lot of this isn't really a convo. Like, the vertical spacing you need, check. The shooting you need, check. The defense you need, check. Guarding on the perimeter, check. Like, all that stuff would be there. And so they're trying to find ways to, like, build around the Achilles injury while also trying to make it work with what they have. And so I think Russ in the third quarter and the fourth quarter yesterday, man, he had bucket after bucket after bucket, got to the free throw line. He hit a three-pointer that was at 96 to 90, and Russ basically went straight up and got the bucket. I mean, just an incredible display from him. I think on the other end of this, like, trying to find ways for Russ to make it work with Jamal is going to be interesting. Now, this is the thing that I'm concerned with Jamal. Because Jamal is a primary on-ball player, he is good off-ball. But he's like standing. Like, he's standing in the corner, and it's just not a lot of movement. And, Jamal's just never really been like a bench elevator. So they're trying to find ways to not have them on the court at the same time except with the starters, because that makes that just makes everything so much easier to operate. But, man, I don't know if Jamal's going to be the one to pair with him. Michael Porter Jr., I think, is a good idea. Julian Strother, obviously, off the bench. Aaron Gordon's actually surprising. AG shooting 84%, 87% from free throws so far, and then he's shooting 90% he's shooting 87 from free throw. He's shooting 40% from the 3-point line. And he's finishing at the basket. 15 points a game. Like, AG has kind of figured out, like, all right, like this is how Russ wants to play a little bit, but you know AG's really intelligent. Like, he knows how to move to the rim, to the basket, run a pick and roll, operate off ball, and at least be able to sometimes finish out a possession on a wide open 3-pointer. So there's decisions to be made. Ultimately, I really feel good about how Russ is playing. I really feel good about his fit, and that I know that I'm going to get great moments and I'm going to get not so great moments. But then it's really up to Malone to, like, mitigate those mistakes when you see them. That way they don't linger further into, like, some of the bad habits, if that makes sense. But we'll see, man. Overall, the Nuggets are 2-2. Jokic is inevitable. He looks so good. Murray and Porter will pick it up. And ultimately, I think the Nuggets are going to position themselves to be able to make a run. But we'll see. Y'all, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. This is Locked On Nuggets. This is your boy Swiper. I'll see y'all on the other side.